can check it out on edconstable.com. It's a great time, and the nice thing is you don't have to drink and drive to those 8 bars that you go to. There'll also be beer on the bus.
Do you have to wear pajamas?
Yes. You could wear your robe. You could do sweatpants, but you would kind of stand out as like the weird person. Yeah. All right. So I want to have Bobby come up here and introduce tonight's vendor. Please help me welcome Bobby Kirby to the stage. Thank you.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Bobby.
Okay. All right. Now, the vendor that's in your newsletter is not here tonight. Dr. Abdullah and Attorney Abdullah, he's both, is in a tryout tonight, this evening in Grand Rapids. But, thank goodness for Christy from 1-800-WATER. So Christy, right before you come up, I want 1 second, okay?
Okay.
To tell them about the meetup and what's going on there. Now, on the 4th Thursday, we're going to have a meetup at Logan's at 7 o'clock. Now, it's very important that you be there because we got a guest speaker, and her name is Kelly Bideman, and she's from the Center for Civil Justice.
Yep.
And she will be talking about the process of receiving assistance through the different agencies like GCAR, Salvation Army, DHS, etc. Now the process has changed and it's more faster and easier now. All the agencies got together and along with the judges and came up with a process now. When a tenant is being evicted and they need assistance, it doesn't take very long. So that's great. And she's going to tell us about that on the 23rd at the meetup. Okay, so now, Christy, it's all yours.
Good evening, everybody. Linda called last minute, and I thought I was going to throw Ron, my boss, up here, and you see who's here now. Let me tell you about 1-800-WATER damage. We are independently owned and operated. There is several more in the state of Michigan now that wasn't there 3 years ago. Balfour bought the franchise in 2015 and kind of took over in 17, but we are still very independently owned and operated. And I say that strongly because we are. So in other words, we don't have to do what Balfour has to do. We do water, sewage, mold, smoke, property tear out, property clean out, all kinds of things. We just did a house the other day. Took 3 30-yard dumpsters just to get the debris out of the house. And then it took another 2 30-yard dumpsters to take it down to the studs because it had been sitting for about 4 years with several big holes in the ceiling, in the roof. So we do that. We are moderately priced on our mold because most of the mold is not anthrax or deadly like a lot of people like to perceive it to be, especially with attic mold or some of the other molds. Everything is black, most of it's black, but so is the mildew in your shower. It's not going to hurt you. The really dangerous stuff is actually kind of looks like cotton candy and yellowy pinky stuff. That's not the good stuff. That is the grab a respirator and leave the house and call somebody that knows actually what they're doing. So, like I said, and we do injector drying system. My boss started out at the lumber yards. He managed lumber yards for 35 years, so he's very, very good at saving hardwood floors. We've only lost 2 in 7 years, and the one had been underwater for like 3-4 days. So, yeah, and we can save him when some of our competitors can't, just because he is familiar with how wood works, being 35 years in lumberyards. And I also think that gives him a competitive advantage, because he knows things that are averaged out, because he understands the concept of building houses and stuff. And so, do you guys have any questions for me? This is not my forte. Really isn't, I'm sorry.
I was just curious what the 3 dumpsters and full of stuff cost the customer.
We charge them about, our price on the dumpster, depending on the dumpster, is about $3.95. We charge them $4.15, which I don't think, it's only like a $20 difference is what we charge. Yeah, that
And then
is,
to load them up?
no, that's out the door. It's already loaded as part of the price.
No. What do you,
Oh.
the labor to fill the dumpster?
Oh, that all depends on, I mean, it depends on how in labor intense it is. Like, one house we're doing right now, it's the one room, the kid literally took the books and tore the pages out and went, woo! And then there's other stuff that, the one house that we just got done, we're doing 2 right now, on top of all the water. The one had just so much debris in it that when we removed the debris, there was holes in the floor. So, that was very labor intense, but our prices were, I mean, we did that one for about 72, and that was gutting it all, so that's 5 30-yard dumpsters, gutting it, getting debris out and everything.
How much, Chris? How much did you say that was?
About 72,
72.
roughly. What?
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
He should have got up a little bit more, but he's head nosy, he's a really good guy. So,
Christy, do you do the treatment afterwards?
yes, we do. We're completely certified in mold. We've been doing mold remediation for 7 years. We do an average of probably 6 mold jobs a week.
Mm.
So,
Now, the house you was telling me about, how many square feet was it?
I would say roughly about 12 to 1,400. Yeah.
But you didn't have to take the walls and the drywall down?
We took 2 interior walls in the basement down. We took the cupboards down. And I was trying to explain to some of the new guys that we had, the cupboards didn't necessarily go down because of the moisture. They were just damaged because they had taken hammers and stuff to them. They were unsalvageable. Because that's another thing we do. We try to salvage anything we can. Because even like with water damage or whatever, we try to salvage it because it makes it easier on everybody. So, any questions? Yes, but that's, can I talk about that?
Go ahead.
Okay, the girls and I do side jobs. We clean, we deep clean. I've cleaned one of Ed's best friend's houses when he got married, ready to move. We do very deep cleaning, or I can do what you guys call broom sweep. So deep that I take, when we clean the water line between the wall and the toilets, we clean the elbows under the sinks. I mean, we can get as detailed as you want. Us girls do that. I just say it's on the side, but Ron knows about it, so.
Do you charge per hour?
We can do. We've done it both ways. We've done per hour, or somebody else say this is my max budget, and then we can, and I'll work with you too. So.
And when I say she cleaned a house for my buddy, it was actually the pole barn apartment that was like infested with raccoons. And so it was very nasty, and now it's super nice.
And us girls cleaned his house before he moved to that house.
Oh yeah, that,
Yep.
and they were pigs.
Yeah, we cleaned the other house.
Yes.
Yep, so, any questions?
With all the water we've had, are you getting a lot of calls from
Yes.
the basements flooding and all
Yeah.
that?
Yep, including mine. My dad started freaking out, and I'm like, why?
What, do you take the water out?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yep. We actually had one in July that had 7 3/4 foot of water in the basement.
Oh,
She was on vacation and the long guy, something caught his eye and he looked in the window and the water was waving in the window. Yeah, so yep, that's the second time that house had 7 foot of water and 5 years in it. So, yeah. Yes, Bob?
Christie, you remediate, you also recondition,
Put it back.
Yes. Yes, yes.
so you bring it right back to whole.
Yes, we do.
Good.
Yep. I can't use that word. Yeah, yep, we redo it. And we put it back together. That's why, especially like with water jobs, we like to salvage anything we can. It makes it easier on everybody. It's just easier and it's less tear out. And if we have to have a subcontractor come in, usually I'm standing there the whole time they're there. If it's something above us, because Ron and I both feel that it's his name on the line, it's our reputation, so, and we don't use anybody that we don't completely trust, but I'm usually there. I'm usually, like, what's Christy doing? She's standing there because that's our, so, yeah. Or if I might not stand there the whole time, but I'm there at the beginning and I'm there before they leave.
Now, Chris, do you give a warranty on?
On mold, yes. Between 2 to 3 years, depending on where it's at, under a few conditions, that we are allowed to take care of whatever it was that caused it, and under normal wear and tear. Like we just did an attic 4 years ago, and they tried to come back and said there's mold in the attic again. Well, what they didn't tell us is they had a tree fall on the roof, and they fixed it themselves. So no, but normal wear and tear, and if we're allowed to fix what caused the mold in the first place, yes, we do up to 3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm. Good?
For the cleaning, I have like an 1,800 square foot house I'm gonna be flipping. We're just buying it. There was an elderly lady there. She lived for 3 years, so it just needs like a clean out. How much about do you think you would charge for that?
There's 2 of us, and it's usually $40 an hour, because there's 2 of us.
Okay.
Or we can just do a flat rate if you want to say, I can come in and look at it.
Yeah.
And then we depend on how deep, because I open up the window tracks if they're, even in the winter, unless it's gonna break the window, I open up, I clean the tracks and everything. We get very detailed. If you don't want that detailed, then it's obviously gonna be cheaper.
Okay.
But yeah, my card's on the table, you can just call me and I can come look at it, we can do per hour, or we can discuss what you wanna spend. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out, Christy. Thank you for telling us also about your side business. All right, so our main speaker tonight is Tiffany. She's the executive director for the Family Promise of Genesee County. She's going to tell us about all the services they offer. Please help me welcome Tiffany to the stage. It's going to take just a second, so it's going to be a long clap. She had a Genesee Landlord Association landlord, and she didn't pay rent. Just kidding. Thank you.
Actually, I think Aaron's got it. Aaron's going to give you guys a press release. I am going to actually hold just one of these crushes, so I apologize for the loud bang. I'm going to tell you first. Yep, those are either one. Yeah, they're all the same. It's just 2 pages, 1 pages. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully I don't fall.
Hopefully you got enough. Maybe not for everybody, at least for enough.
Yep, I'm
For
moving.
every table.
I'm just trying not to fall on it, fall on myself.
You got a stool anywhere?
This is actually newly fractured as of yesterday, so I don't have a lot of mobility, unfortunately. But I was supposed to come and talk to you guys in November, and I didn't want to reschedule because I am very, very much looking forward to being able to speak to you all today. So I apologize. Usually I walk up and down and answer all the questions, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that today. But, so a little bit about what we do. As he said, my name is Tiffany Ferrier, and I am the Executive Director of Family Promise of Genesee County. We are one of 250 affiliates in the United States of America. We are a homeless shelter for families with children. And when I say families, I mean anything that the child considers a family is what we consider a family. So it could be a grandma and a dad, and their child. It could be 2 moms, 2 dads. It could be a single mom, a single dad. Whatever the child considers the family unit to be, we also consider a family. The key ingredient to being in our shelter is that you have to have children. With no children, then we would recommend you somewhere else. What also sets us apart from normal shelters is that we actually background check and drug test all of our incoming families. If their children come in and they are over the age of 18 or 18 or over, they also have to be drug tested and background checked. That is because we operate at a different system than most homeless shelters. We operate at a third of the last budget, but we also use surrounding host network of churches, which actually house our guests overnight. So from 5 o'clock at night until 7 o'clock the next morning, our families are staying at a church in the area. Churches that you probably know of: Davison United Methodist, Holly Calvary, Fenton United Methodist, St. Paul's Episcopal downtown, Court Street United Methodist downtown. They house our guests for 7 days at a time. So from Sunday to Sunday, they are there from 5 o'clock at night until 7 o'clock in the morning. So where are they from 7 to 5? They are at our day shelter working with our case managers, which help provide them to navigate what their goals should be and where and what they need to be working on in order to get back on their feet. The average stay in our shelter is between 57 and 60 days. We don't keep people for a very long time because we are working with a niche group of people. We don't work with the chronically homeless. It's not somebody that's been homeless multiple times, had multiple evictions. There's an acronym, it's called ALICE, which is Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. 85% of our families and our parents, one of which has a job. So, I am fortunate enough that I have a good enough job and my husband carpools with me, and so he can drive me to work every day. But let's say I didn't. Let's say I wasn't that fortunate. Let's say I work 2 jobs. I work a part-time job 2 times. And how would I get to work? I got hurt yesterday. I can't drive. I have no way to carpool. What am I going to do? So then I'm late on my rent. And unfortunately, in 99% of the case, your rent is your largest bill. So that is the first bill that slides behind, because families can't come up with that money when something happens. 80% of the American population cannot stand a $400 emergency. $400. If your car breaks, if your son breaks his leg and you need to go to the hospital, you know what I mean? Like, those are things that people can't afford to have happen because they're out working so hard, and most of the time they're falling at least $100 short of their needed budget anyways just to survive. So by robbing Peter to pay Paul, 1 month their DTE bill doesn't get paid, but the next month they catch up on DTE and then their consumers falls behind. And it happens, and then as soon as something goes terribly wrong that they don't prepare for, 2 weeks of missed work, and you have a tenant that can't pay their rent. And then they keep trying and they keep trying, and it just keeps breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. And that's where we step in. So there's a long process for them to come stay with us. We do a phone interview, and after the phone interview, we decide if they have the qualifications in order to meet that niche group of people. If they are not in that niche group of people, we don't just say, sorry, we can't help you. But we refer them to another agency or another organization within town that would probably be able to and be better equipped to provide them the resources that they need, because we do use that select niche group. And a lot of people say, well, how do you turn people away? Well, that niche group that we serve are usually the people that get denied by any type of state assistance because they make too much money, their spouse makes too much money, they have a grandma that lives in their household that gets Social Security, so she's on their case, and so they can't get help because of that. So that's why we only serve that niche group, because there's no one else serving them. So what I'm here to talk to you guys about tonight is that Family Promise was recently awarded a grant from the company HUME, which is an acronym for Help Us Move In. And this group was named by children because they're basically using this funding in order to provide rental assistance to families with kids with someone under the age of 17 in their home. That's the only requirement. Our requirements, as Family Promise, require them that they can actually be able to be stable after we do help them with rent, to be able to continue to pay to stay there. Yes, they might get in trouble, but after that month, maybe a construction worker, he made it all the way almost through winter. And then he can't go back to work till April, but he's gonna fall short on his March rent. So if he has a child under the age of 17, you could refer them to our website to fill out a form. And that form is going to allow us to look and call him and say, okay, you provided us with all this information, and now we can pay your rent for April, and then you won't ever fall behind. Your children don't ever face the trauma of coming into the shelter in the first place. And next month you're gonna go back to work and you're gonna pick right back up where you left off, and there's not gonna be any issue. That's what we are trying to do. We are trying to divert these people who really shouldn't be in shelter but fall on hard times and just need a break to staying in their homes and being able to stay there. Where you guys come into play is, who knows your tenants better than anyone else? You. You know the people that pay their rent every month. You know the people that just fall short every once in a while and call you. You know the people that if somebody said, hey, let me catch your rent up for 1 month, they probably wouldn't fall behind again. Those are the people that we can help. Those are the people that we need to help, because it stops those people from coming into our shelter in the first place, because that is the niche group that we help. So with this money, Family Promise of Genesee County put up $10,000 of our own money. We are privately funded. We do not receive any money from HUD, from MSHDA, none of that. We don't rely on rapid rehousing or any type of funding of that nature from the government in order to house our guests, because they don't fall into that category. That's not where they're at. So we put up $10,000 of our own money. Family Promise Nationals, which is located in New Jersey because we're one of 250 affiliates, put up $5,000. And the Help Us Move In organization put up another $5,000 to match our 10. So that gave us $20,000. We have since went out into the community and have continued. I've went and talked to the Genesee Intermediate School District superintendents. Grand Blanc School has done a fundraiser for us. Various organizations around town are working on doing fundraisers for us to help match that $20,000. Because we have this $20,000 pot sitting here, and we have now gotten $5,000 donated. That gave me $10,000 to work with. With that $10,000, I can prevent someone who's been in our program or someone that I've previously helped with HUME within the first year from being evicted. And I can also help someone who is referred to us from someone like yourselves not fall behind on their rent as long as they have children in their home. And with that money, I can also help families that are in our shelter move into their own homes to stay there. The only catch is it has to be made out to a land management or a property management or a landlord. I can't give them money. I have to send you a check directly. This money is a game changer for Genesee County. It's a game changer for people that work hard and kind of fall through the cracks, that don't necessarily get the opportunity or the chance to get help from anyone else. The best part about all of this is yes, we help them, but we're not going to help someone that can't help themselves and are going to call me again the next month and say, well, I know you helped me pay that, but I can't pay this now. If they can't prove to me that they're able to continue that stability that I've provided for them, then I can't give them the money, because I'm here to stabilize them. And in that case, I would love to bring them into shelter, and I can help them with budgeting classes and other things. Now, if we do give you the money, you have to go to budgeting classes. And depending on how much money you bring to the game yourself, you could have a tenant that says, I have $300 and they need $400 more. Okay, well, you've given us a third of what you need, so you only have to do the third of the case management that everyone else who gets the full amount needs. But we have a budgeting class that you have to attend. And we provide daycare, so you can't say that you can't go because you have a child at home. That's fine. We have crafts and arts and all kinds of great stuff. Your kid will be right in the same room. We're gonna provide them the tools for like Keys to Good Tenancy, which is a program that I'm teaching with a realtor in the neighborhood that is going to help me teach people how to be a good tenant. How to call your landlord and say, we're falling behind right now. You know, I'm trying to pick it up, this is where we're at, this is why this is happening. How to be a good neighbor, how to keep your yard clean, how to know when, you know, something's going wrong ahead of time and not waiting on your landlord to come in and fix it because you're calling them when there's a 5-alarm fire instead of calling them when there's a drip in the bathtub. You know what I mean? We are trying to help these people be educated on what they need to do to be good tenants for you. Does anybody have any questions right off the bat?
Tiffany, are
Yes.
you part of this coalition that Kelly?
Yes, I'm actually on the executive committee for the Continuum of Care for Genesee County. I know Kelly. We just approved for her to have her own committee for the Continuum of Care. Kelly Detroit actually already has a homeless court coalition that they use. They bring judges into the shelters, and instead of making, you know, an offender that might not be able to, we call them low-income crimes. You can get a felony because your child isn't buckled in a seatbelt properly. Because what happens is, the first time you get it, it's a misdemeanor, and then you have to go to court. And you can't make it to court because you have to go to work. And if you don't go to work, you can't pay you. So then they don't show up for court. And then when they don't show up for court, they get a bench warrant. And then they get pulled over because they don't have tags on their car, because they couldn't afford to put tags on their car, because they got this ticket for not having their kid properly buckled. Call them low-income crimes, because it's a cause and effect situation of people not having the funds that they need in order to continue to survive. So that's what the homeless court is about. They're trying to bring them into the shelter to get rid of those low-income crimes that are affecting people from moving into homes or affecting them and making them homeless in the first place. So I'm 100% in complete support of Kelly and what she's doing. It's amazing. Some other things about HUME. Everybody is required to do case management, like I said, but any person that comes out of our shelter is also required to do a year of case management after they leave, which means we do 4 home visits a year, and we also contact them 1 time a month. We also provide them with anything that they need as far as personal care items. I can help them with resources if they fall behind on a bill, things of that nature, so that if within that year after they leave us, it's a hard time for them, but we're ahead of it. I always tell people I'm not a firefighter, and I always use this as an example, but if you call me when you start to see smoke, I can help you. But if you call me when your house is burning down, that's usually, well, I couldn't pay my rent, and then I couldn't pay consumers because I fell behind, and you know, that's again where I get back to the 5-alarm fire. I can't help them by that point. I do the best I can, but I can help them when they first fall behind and there's something that they need. I can find a resource to prevent them from spiraling down. And usually they're really good and we're really close and we understand what's going on and they do contact me. In some instances, you know, you can't get through to people and there's hard heads and there's some, well, I was embarrassed or I didn't want to ask. And that does happen. But we do our best to make sure that they don't end up homeless again, because we are generationally trying to take a holistic approach to homelessness. 1 in 3 kids that are homeless as children will be homeless as adults. We don't want that for them. We are trying to prepare their parents to be able to teach their children how to budget, how to do all of these things, so that when their children gets of age, they don't have to worry about being homeless, because that's what happens. We generationally want to change the homeless factor in their lives, for their kids, for their family. And that's what makes us different. Any more questions? Yeah?
As far as that like the tenant university, kind of like you were saying with those
Yep.
classes that you do the people who come to that, do they have to already be part of your program, or as landlords can we suggest it to our tenants? Like,
Nope.
This would be a great thing, you should go do this.
Absolutely. That's another reason why we actually were going to start Keys to Good Tenancy in November when I was first coming here. It is going to be open to the public. We're currently looking for, thank you so much, I appreciate that. We are currently looking for a place to house it. I believe Catholic Charities is gonna help us. We have a really good relationship with them. And they have the Center for Hope. I think she's gonna let us house stuff there. And it's just gonna be an open class. And actually, our office is located in Calvary United Methodist Church, which is right down the road from Hurley on Flushing Avenue. They have a very large building down there too, so I don't think it'll be any, we just wanted to wait until we had this meeting to actually open up classes. It's actually a 4-part class, so there's multiple times that people can come. And then we just try to help them and make sure that they understand, you know, the tenant.
Is there a cost involved with that
No,
class?
it's absolutely free. Yep. And my master's degree is actually in post-secondary education, which is college level, and I am teaching that class along with Sean Roden, who is a realtor through Remax Edge in Davison. He is on our board currently. So, anything else? Yeah.
You said people do have to have children, right?
Yes.
Couldn't be a single person.
Yep. Yep. They could come to the class. Now, if you have a single person that needs to come to the class, absolutely. But as far as the HUME grant, that grant is for children, 17 and under. We do take people into shelter that have, you know, an 18 or 19-year-old child, especially if there's some type of disability or something like that involved. I will say the one thing about our shelter is we are volunteer-based because at the churches, they provide them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then they also provide the volunteers that stay overnight and with them during the evening. So we're very careful about taking in mental health or domestic violence situations. We do not do any DV because I can't protect them. I can't protect them, I can't protect their kids, and I can't protect my volunteers if something were to happen. I also don't do any type of mental health that is unstable. Now, if you have a mental health disability and you're on meds and you haven't been hospitalized within a year, like, that's absolutely fine. But if you are, you know, mentally ill and you need help, I can't really help you because I can't put my volunteers in danger. I just can't do that. Other than that, yeah.
Tell me about your results. Say, for instance, you had 100 cases last year, and how many were successful and...
And graduating?
Right.
Yeah.
And it being stabilized.
Okay, so currently we have graduated 60 families in the last 6 years, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're looking at the group of people that we're trying to help, it actually is good. 98% of them are still in their homes and are still thriving. Last year I had 18 people come into shelter, and unfortunately you can't help everyone, and I only graduated 12. So 6 of them were asked to leave. Now, whether that was because I didn't think that they were following the rules, we are not, you know, you don't get to come and go as you please. Like, you're not in a servitude by any means, but like, you know, you have to respect churches, you have to respect volunteers. There's just a lot of things that people can't live by. We have curfew, we have, you know, things that you need to attend and be at. You have case management you have to go to every week. You have goals that you have to achieve to be there. If you can't, I can find other people that are willing to do the work, and at that point I have to exit them. And that's the worst part of my job, because ultimately I'm making a child leave and I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Once you house the family, are there follow-up protocols that your agency follows with that family?
Absolutely. We do 4 home visits a year, and so quarterly, basically every 3 to 4 months we go and visit them, and then we also call them once a month, but usually I see them all the time because, you know, when you have a bond with someone like that, they're usually stopping in. We also provide them with anything that they need, feminine care products, toilet paper, paper towel. If they need a gas card to get to work, they can come see me, things of that nature, just because they know, like, I don't want them to fall behind again. So if they don't have to spend their money on those things, I can help provide that for them, as long as they continue to do what they're supposed to be doing while they're in our program. They can only miss a budgeting class or a keys to good tenancy class if they're at work. They have to have a work excuse.
Okay, so say for instance, they start missing or whatever the case may be.
I can't
and it
help
goes
them
back.
anymore.
And then what is our responsibility as far as that situation?
You would be my first call probably, and I would let you know that they are no longer in support of us, that, you know, I've tried to reach out to them, I've tried to do what I can to help them, and, you know, I would keep you updated. I have very few times that has happened. If you make it through our program, you know, you're kind of stuck with us for life. Our very first graduate from 6 years ago actually donates back to our program now. So Like I said, it's not your everyday homeless person. When I say homeless, I mean 90% of the people in this room probably think the person on the side of the road with a sign that says homeless, you know, will work for food or whatever. That's not the type of person that we're serving, unfortunately. And when I ask people, you know, I do this a lot, and I go talk to people, and that's usually the response that I get. You know, like when I say homeless person, what do you think? And they don't ever think about a mom and a dad and their 2 kids that are living in their car or staying in a hotel, or, you know what I mean? And it's sad because homelessness affects anyone and everyone. There is no boundary of who it can and who it can affect. It can happen to anyone. And honestly, as a landlord association, we are seeing more and more homelessness affect the elderly than anything. You know, and as a continuum of care in Genesee County, we are looking at how can we help this population. They're leaving Hurley and getting sent to the bus stop, and they have nowhere to go. And most of the emergency shelters require a phone call, or, you know, there's a wait list, things like that. So where is this person that's at a bus stop supposed to go that's 70-some years old and disabled? And it happens every day. And there is, in the wintertime, they have the warming center, which isn't the safest place, but in the summer, there's nowhere. They can go to One Stop and get a lunch during the day, but other than that, at night, if they're not in a shelter, there's nowhere to put them.
Do you perform home reviews prior to placing the family?
As in, like, do we go in and do an inspection or whatever
Well,
on the home?
an agency identified inspection versus like a home inspection or something like that.
No, we don't even do that. We would go to, like, if, I just had a veteran move in to his house. And so we went to his house. We try to make sure that they're not getting ripped off. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately it happens. So we would just go to the home with them and make sure that they like it, make sure that, we check to make sure that it's affordable. We don't want them to move into a house they can't afford. So if, you know, they're saying, well, I want to rent this house for $1,200 a month, but you only make $1,500 a month, that's not affordable housing. We have to find you something else. Those are the things that we do. We're not going in to do a home inspection or anything like that. I will tell you, and I'm not going to lie about it, we do advocate for them. So if they're calling me and saying, you know, this is broken, this isn't working, I can't get a hold of my landlord and stuff like that, I myself or my case manager would probably call, and at no point in time are we going to accuse anybody or anything. We're just going to say, hey, what can we do to help? You know, this is going on, and you might tell me, this person is absolutely insane, and I can't get anything done around their time schedule or whatever. And I will probably be like, absolutely, I know exactly what you're talking about. What can we do to help you? You know, I'm resourceful, if anything.
So do you have a website where we can actually list available houses on it?
Absolutely. You can call me and email me any available houses. We don't have a website in which that they would be listed, but as soon as you have any, Kennedy Housing, are they here? No. Kennedy sends me a list of all their houses as soon as they become available for family-style homes. And just because it's a 1-bedroom doesn't mean we can't use it, because I could have a single mom that has a baby that could really use a 1-bedroom house that's affordable for her until I can get her into a better paying job or something like that to where she could step up into a 2-bedroom.
What is your number?
There's a press release going around that has all my contact information on the bottom of it. Yes.
I have an update on that, actually. We didn't have enough copies.
Oh.
Before I took the last copy and gave it to Linda, our office manager. So make sure she has your email, because she's gonna scan in both sides and email it to everybody.
I am really sorry about that. I can give you my phone number now, though, if you guys want to write that down. Our office phone number is 810-234-9444. And I also have a sign-in sheet in the back where I'm sitting. Usually I would come around. Yep, he's holding it up right now. Usually I would come around and have everybody sign up, but I'm not very mobile, I'm sorry.
You can pass this around, or you want?
Either way, whichever works for anybody else. If you can give me your name, your phone number, and your email address, I can contact you, or somebody in my office will contact you, and just see what you're interested in and what we can do for you. Yeah?
You mentioned 57 to 60-day placement period or
Yes.
something. What becomes, why was that?
We keep them, as long as they're working the system and doing our program, we call it, we are a homeless shelter program. We're not just a homeless shelter. We have a program that we put into place that you have to work in order to get out. So as long as you're working that program, I've had people that stay for 120 days. It just depends on their situation and where they're at. The mom that stayed for 120 days just got out of the hospital. She just had a baby. She had a wonderful job as a CNA, made great money, had a brand new apartment, brand new car, had this baby, had nowhere to go. So she came and stayed with us for 120 days. She's doing amazing. She's got a great house that she's renting. She's got a great, she's leased a car again. She's making good money, back on her feet. She checks in with me every month, and she's just doing awesome. Her daughter came in.
They just
Yep.
evaluate everybody individually.
Yep. Yeah. We shoot for 60 days. We don't want anybody to stay there any longer than 60 days unless absolutely
I'm
necessary.
sure it happens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But we are on average at 57 days. Yeah. And that's part of our screening process too, because if you have somebody that comes in that's had 2 evictions, the odds of you renting to them are little to none. Unless I can prove why they had the 2 evictions, and yeah, I know. Yep. And I have people that have 0 evictions. That just was staying with a mom or staying with a friend and can't stay with them anymore, and now they don't have anywhere to go. 0 evictions are not unheard of. Yeah.
Is there an income ceiling on how much a person can make and still qualify?
Nope. Absolutely not.
This is a good thing. I had a tenant like 10 years ago where she got sick.
I'm gonna sit down, I'm sorry.
And she couldn't get help anywhere.
Yep, because she made too much money.
Yeah, even though she was off and she had 2 kids in school and.
Yeah, it happens every day, unfortunately. I see it all the time, where people make too much money, they hit, they're above the poverty line, they can't get help with food stamps because they do make too much money. And then the worst part is they make them go back like 60 days. So a mom could not work for 30 days because she got hurt, and she waits tables, and she makes great money wait tables and bartending, but she can't work for 30 days. They're not going to give her food stamps for another month, maybe even 2. So the only money that she does have that she's borrowing or whatever else, she's spending on food to support her kids. And that big bill, that rent bill, that's where they fall behind. But the other thing that we can do too is we can provide them with resources like I was just mentioning about food. Maybe you don't get food stamps, but I know where every single food distributor is in Genesee County. What day it happens, where you can go to get fresh food, where you can go to get canned goods, where you can go to get diapers for, which we provide. We provide all their diapers and wipes while they stay with us and after they leave if they need them too. But we can just provide them with the resources that they need in order to not have to spend the money on other things to make sure that their home is secure. We believe every child should have a home. Anything else? Yeah?
If the family was previously supported by, say, BECA or
Yep.
Section 8 or whatever, and their office system or their funding assistance has been drastically cut, because they're elevated now in their job positions, but like I said, something happens.
Yeah.
And now their portion, they're falling behind on rent. Can you still intervene even though they're with another program?
Yes, I can. If they're with Becca and let's say, those are the people I would absolutely 100% want to try to help provide for. We go on a per child basis. So let's say they only need $150 and they have 5 kids in their home, our per child number goes down. But also I would want to help them more so than any other person, because once they lose that, there's no going back. They're on that assistance for a reason. They need that in order to be able to stay housed. I'm trying to ensure that happens.
Especially if they work and have
Yes,
kids and whatnot,
exactly.
they're trying.
Yep, 100%. I just don't want them to call me when they're, 3 months behind. I want you to call me when they just fell on hard times and you're like, this is crazy, this never happens. They're always super good about it. Okay, well, here, I'm going to send them this form and I can help you. Anything else? No? Okay. Well, like I said, I have a sign up back there. It might be being passed around. If you're interested in meeting with me, or I can come to your office, though I'm very limited on driving ability at the moment. But you're all more than welcome to come see our facility. You can check out our website at familypromiseofgc.org. I have an amazing staff. I have a family advocate and staff, and then I also have a case manager, and we have a development director as well. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and hopefully I look forward to talking to all you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. 50-50 plan.